Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today on Chess at 365, we are again back with the pawn endgame, and this is a series of two pawn endgame when both the side white and black have a 1-1 pawn on the board along with the king. We already created one video which is related to two pawn. If you want to check out the previous video related to two pawn, the link is given in the description box. We're also giving you the link in the description box for the chess position analysis puzzle that is for the players whose elo rating between 1000 to 1600. So if you want to check out those videos, the link also given in the description box. So without wasting any time, let's jump onto the today's puzzle. Look into this position. In this position, if you can clearly see, there is no chance of any pawn raise because both the pawns are blocking each other. Black pawn is on the c4, black pawn is on the c4 square, and white pawn is on the c3 square. Of course, it's a black to play. Along with this position, I would like to explain you one more position with the same set of pieces. But right now, if you can see here, the black pawn is on the c5 square and white pawn is on the c4 square. When the black pawn is on the c4 square and it is black, if it's black to play, then this position is clearly winning for the black. If of course black know how to make it, and that's what we are going to discuss in this puzzle. But if we use the same set of pieces but just put it them one rank below, then the position would end up as a draw. So we are taking both the position into the count, so you could have also very clear idea that how position is so important in the chess. First of all, when the pawn is on the c4 square, you can clearly see as pawn don't have any activity, it's all on the king's activity. Kings clearly have a 6 different move. One is c6, b6, a6, c5, a5 or the a4. If you take c6, b6, a6 into the count, that will not consider it so effective because in this position your ultimately aim, of course both the side have aim to take the opponent's pawn and try to promote his own pawn. So going away from the pawn is not effective in this position. So let's not keep them into the count, and of course if you do it, the game would be end up as a draw. So let's first take the count of what if king goes to the c5. This immediately end up as a draw because as a white king is jump on the e3 square because that's the ultimate aim of this position, to grab the opponent's pawn. Black king can go to the d5, try to block the king. King can again go back to the d2. If king try to go to the e4, try to move towards the pawn, then white king will enter on the e2 square and white enter into the opposition. Of course, opposition theory suggests whoever enter into the opposition will have a clear-cut advantage of the opposition, and white enter into the opposition. King can go to the f4. Here, white clear-cut have a two option, either f2 or the d2. White enters on the d2. That's a clear blunder, and this is a give you a chance to enter on the f3 square, the line where you can easily target the white's pawn. And after few moves, you can easily grab the white's pawn. So of course, d2 is not a good move for the white. So white can enter on the f2 square. Again, this is an opposition. And from here, you can't go to the g4 square, which leads you are losing. Why? White king will enter on the e3 square again. This allows white king to enter into the area when he can easily grab the black's pawn. So of course, this shows who have a control on the third line will have a clear-cut advantage in this position. c5 doesn't look so effective because after some moves, white enter into the opposition and make the game as a draw by repeating the moves here and there. Now, after finishing the c5, let's jump what if king goes to the a5. This also leads to a draw because now king have a clear cut two option. White king can go to the c1 or the c2 square because ultimately white's aim is to stop the black king from reaching to the third rank. So if king goes to the c1, we can jump to the a4 and white will simply move its king to the b2, again stopping us from the entering to the third rank. And the same thing happens if we go to the c2 square, black move to the a4 and white can easily jump on the b2, again manage to stop the black king from reaching to third rank. So controlling on the third rank is the key idea, and these positions like a5 or the c5 will not allow you to take control on the third rank and you will not able to manage to win. So let's take the count. What if black moves its king to the a4? Now this is clear cut winning idea because Here, of course, white will not go to the c1 square because that's immediately allow black to enter on the third rank. So white will go to the c2, black easily enter on the third rank. Now king don't have any other option, so white have to move its king to the c1 and we will simply jump on to b3. White go to the d2, stop black to taking the pawn. We can go to the b2 and now both kings are in the opposition, but white king don't have access of d3 square, so white king have to go away from the pawn. Black can easily take the pawn and white will move its king to the c1, entering into the opposition. Remember, in the previous position, I told you that whoever enter into opposition, we have a clear-cut advantage. So in this case, if you think white have a clear-cut advantage, but the problem is black pawn is in the fourth rank. So black simply put its king on the d3 square. Of course, if white follow with the d1, black can put his pawn to the c3. Here white clear cut have option either c1 or the e1. If it's going to the e1, pawn to c2 and there is no chance can stop the pawn. So if white enters on the c1 square, we still push our pawn to the c2 and this blocks both d1 and the b1 square. King can possibly go. So now white king have to go to the b2 square and black move its king to the d2, and in next move he can easily promote in the c1 square. So the correct move is king to a4. To take control on the third rank, we should move our king to the a4. I already mentioned we'll take one more position with the same setup of pieces into the count to understand what is the importance of the position in the chess. So let's jump on the position where the pawn is on the black's pawn is on the fifth rank and white's pawn is on the fourth rank. So likewise in previous setup, if black try to go to the a5 and take control on the fourth rank, because previously in previous position he was trying to take control on the third rank, same tactics he was trying to apply in this position by taking the control on the fourth rank. So king white will allow you. White will go to the c2 square. Black managed to take the control on the fourth rank. He come to the c3. Black enter into the opposition by moving its king to the a3. King to c2. Black king to the b4. And black can easily take the pawn and white again enter into the opposition. But this time black pawn is on the fifth rank. Let's take what happened. Will it able to manage to promote or not? Black king slide on the d4 square to create the path for the black's pawn. White to d2, c4, king to c2, try to block, doesn't matter, we can still push. King to c1. Now this is a problem, we can't push our pawn, otherwise white will take the pawn, and if we move our king to the d3, white king enter into the opposition with the d1, king to c2 check, and white goes to the c1. Now it's black to play. Black can't go away from the pawn, otherwise white will take the pawn, and if black jump on the c3 position, immediately leads to the stalemate, and game will end up as a draw due to stalemate. So you clearly understand from this two different position, one position when black pawn is on the c4 square and the one position when black pawn is on the c5 square, the same idea doesn't work in the different position. So position in the chess is very important. You can see the video once again and try to understand how position is so important in the chess. If you have seen so far and if you like the video, press the like button. Thanks for watching and do subscribe to our channel for more informative video related to chess.